They laughed at her, said she was too weak to be a sniper. But when the convoy came under fire, one shot from Ema Jackson turned silence into respect. The barracks smelled of oil and dust. Wooden bunks filled the long room, and rifles leaned against lockers like silent guards. The men laughed at a card game in the corner. Their voices echoed, sharp and careless, filling the air with the comfort of belonging. Then the door opened. A new pair of boots clicked against the floor. The sound was too steady, too precise, to belong to anyone they knew. Her name was Ema Jackson. She was not tall, not broad, not the kind of soldier they imagined would walk in carrying a sniper's case. Her uniform looked too new, too clean, her hair tied back neatly. She paused, eyes scanning the room. 20 pairs of eyes studied her in return, weighing her, measuring her, judging before she spoke a word. "Well, what do we have here?" one soldier said. His grin was wide, his voice dripping with mockery. "Did the kitchen lose a helper?" The men roared with laughter. Ema ignored it. She walked across the room, calm and steady, and dropped her pack by the empty bunk. "That's Murphy's bed," another warned, whistling low. Murphy sat at the far end, sharpening a knife. A scar cut across his jaw, and his silence was heavier than the laughter of the others. He didn't even look at her, just said, "Leave it. We'll see if she lasts a week." The room filled with smirks. Ema unpacked her things without looking up. Folded clothes, a small notebook, a cleaning kit for her sidearm. Her hands moved with precision, calm and unshaken. "Hey, rookie," another soldier called, leaning back on his bunk. "You sure you're in the right place? The nurse's tent is down the road." More laughter. Ema finally looked up. Her eyes, a sharp steel gray, met his without a word. He shifted under her gaze but forced a grin anyway. The squad leader, Staff Sergeant Cole, walked forward then. His boots echoed as the chatter died down. He stopped in front of Ema, studying her like one might study a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. "You're Jackson?" he asked. "Yes, Sergeant." Her voice was firm. "They say you passed sniper training." "Yes, Sergeant. And you think you belong here?" She met his stare without flinching. "I don't think it, Sergeant. I know it." The room grew silent. Cole gave a short nod and walked away. The men returned to their jokes, though their laughter now carried a sharper edge. Ema kept unpacking, steady as ever. Later, when she unlatched her rifle case, the room fell silent again. She lifted the weapon, her movements confident and precise. Even Murphy looked up this time. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. She knew her chance would come, and when it did, she would not miss. The bugle blared at dawn. The men groaned and dragged themselves from their bunks, but Ema was already awake. She had slept lightly, her body trained to rise at the faintest sound. She sat on the edge of her bunk, lacing her boots with calm precision. Daniels shuffled past her, yawning. He smirked. "Careful out there, rookie. Wouldn't want you breaking a nail." Ema ignored him. She swung her rifle over her shoulder and stepped outside into the blazing morning sun. The sniper range stretched beyond the camp, an open expanse where targets shimmered in the heat haze. Silhouettes stood at 300 meters. Steel plates weighted at 600, and far beyond, tiny circles marked the 1,000-yard line. Few could hit those. Even fewer could do it consistently. Staff Sergeant Cole barked orders as the squad lined up. Position, breath control, wind calls. I want clean shots, no excuses. His eyes scanned the men, then stopped on Ema Jackson. "You'll go last." A ripple of laughter passed through the squad. Last was for rookies. Last was for those expected to fail. Ema gave a short nod, nothing more. Daniels went first. He dropped prone at the 600-meter mark, spat into the dirt, and fired 3 quick rounds. Each one smacked against the steel plate. He rolled onto his back, grinning as the others clapped his shoulder. "Textbook," Cole said curtly. The men followed, one after another. Some missed, some cursed. Murphy's shots, as always, were flawless. He didn't even celebrate. He simply reloaded with quiet confidence, as if perfection was expected of him. Then it was Ema's turn. She walked forward without a word, lay flat on the mat, and set her rifle on the bipod. Laughter rose again. "Careful, sweetheart," one soldier called. "That recoil might knock you flat." "Hope she remembered to load it," another muttered. Ema blocked them out. The world narrowed to her breathing, her heartbeat, and the steel plate waiting in the distance. She exhaled slowly, then squeezed the trigger. Crack! The bullet cut through the air, then rang against the plate dead center. The laughter faltered. She chambered another round. Crack! Another hit, then a third. The sound echoed clear, undeniable. Ema lifted her head, calm and steady, and began unloading her rifle. The squad stared. Daniel's smirk faded, though he forced a chuckle. "Lucky grouping," he muttered. Murphy glanced at her, expression unreadable, then went back to cleaning his weapon. The drills dragged on under the merciless sun. Sweat stung their eyes. Dust clung to skin. They sprinted between barricades, firing from cover. Ema was slower than the others, her stride shorter, her body smaller, but she pushed harder, lungs burning. When she finally reached the barricade, Daniel sneered. "Told you, she'd fall behind." Ema dropped to her knee, steadied her rifle, and fired 3 times through a narrow slit in the cover. Each round struck true. Cole, silent until then, spoke at last. "Good shooting," just 2 words. But Ema heard the weight behind them. It wasn't pity, it wasn't mockery, it was recognition, and that was enough. The mess hall buzzed with low chatter and the clatter of trays. Ema sat at the edge of the table, quiet as always, her food barely touched. She listened more than she spoke, learning from the way the men joked and grumbled. The door banged open. Staff Sergeant Cole strode in, his face like stone. He carried a folder under his arm. "Briefing room. Now." Chairs scraped as the squad jumped up. Nobody dared to complain. When Cole's voice was sharp like that, it meant danger. The briefing room walls were lined with maps and grainy satellite photos. A projector hummed, throwing an image of a narrow mountain road on the wall. Trucks crawled along it like ants. "Intel confirms enemy snipers here." Cole tapped the ridgeline. "The convoy will be trapped if they fire. It'll be a massacre. Our job is to move ahead, secure the high ground, and take them out before they get a shot." Silence filled the room. Everyone knew what that meant. A sniper duel. Patience, precision, and no second chances. "Positions," Cole continued. "Murphy, Overwatch. Daniels, left flank. Ortiz, right. Jackson." He hesitated, eyes on her. "Support fire only. Cover the others. Do not take lead." Daniels smirked. "Good call, Sarge. Don't want her spooking and giving us away." A few chuckles followed. Ema kept her face still. "Yes, Sergeant." The squad filed out to prepare. Rifles were checked twice. Scopes adjusted. Ammunition counted. Daniels couldn't resist leaning close to her as she cleaned her barrel. "Support role, huh? Guess you'll sit back while the rest of us do the real work." Ema didn't look up. "Support means I'll be covering you when you miss." For once, Daniels had no reply. The next morning they rolled out in armored trucks before dawn. The road twisted through cliffs and valleys, the sky still gray. Dust rose behind them like smoke. Cole raised his fist. "Dismount. Move light. Move quiet." Boots crunched on gravel as the squad spread out. Murphy climbed to a rocky perch. Daniels and Ortiz slipped to the flanks. Cole crouched low, signaling with sharp hand gestures. Ema slid into her shallow spot, belly against the dirt, rifle on its bipod. Through her scope, the world narrowed. Rocks, grass swaying in the wind. Shadows stretched across the ridge line. Nothing moved. Then the first shot cracked. A bullet slammed into the dirt near Ortiz. Dust burst into the air. Contact. Cole roared. Gunfire erupted. Daniels fired wildly, shouting curses. Murphy's rifle boomed, controlled and deliberate, but the enemy stayed hidden. Another shot ripped into the hood of a truck, sparks flying. The convoy ground to a halt, soldiers ducking low. Ema's scope darted left, then right. No movement. Her pulse hammered in her ears. This wasn't the range. These weren't steel plates. This was chaos. She whispered to herself, "Focus." And then she saw it. A flicker, a sliver of glass, catching the morning sun. A scope, buried in the rocks. Her breath steadied. Her finger touched the trigger. The battlefield roared. But in her world, there was silence. The canyon thundered with gunfire. Bullets sparked against the convoy's armor. Men shouted over the roared, Daniels cursing as he sprayed rounds that hit nothing. Ema pressed her cheek tighter to the rifle stock. Sweat slid down her temple, stinging the cut on her skin. Her scope swept the rocks. She saw it again, the faint shimmer of glass. A sniper's scope hidden deep in the ridge. Her heart slowed. Breath in, breath out. The voices of doubt whispered in her head. What if you miss? What if you give them your position? She clenched her jaw. Not today. Her finger tightened. Crack. The rifle bucked. A half-second later, dust burst from the ridge. The glint was gone. Silence followed. For one breath, the whole canyon froze. Enemy fire stopped. Target down, Murphy confirmed. Overcomes, his voice flat, but different now, tinged with respect. Good shot, Jackson. Cole's steady voice followed. Relief spread like a wave. Soldiers inside the trucks cheered, banging fists against the armor. Daniels said nothing. His smirk was gone, replaced by wide eyes.